Hey, what's happening, world? B Marsh Boxing, and I'm back at it with another boxing video. After last night's impressive W from the man Emmanuel Navarrete, very fan-friendly style, awkward. This guy throws punches from all angles, and he's a very rangy fighter. Put on a show last night in Glen, what they call it, Glendale, Arizona. You know what I mean? In front of a pro Mexican crowd, man. It looked live as hell up in that arena. I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. Those fans got treated a great battle. Now Oscar Valdez, Oscar Valdez, he fought his heart out, man. Them fellas did what he had to do. It's not the first time I've seen him. Only issue I've ever had with Oscar Valdez in his pro career is, ducking and dropping a belt to avoid Shakur Stevenson, which he finally got around to doing it, fighting Shakur Stevenson. We seen the outcome. We seen what he was avoiding for years, the inevitable. So I was like, you should have gotten it popping, or. Well, I guess it meant more when they finally got to fight, rather than Shakur being a man, though, because they fought, Shakur and Valdez fought for a unification. You know what I mean? And I believe the lineal title, or the Ring Magazine lineal title, was on the line too. So Valdez just had a problem getting on the inside because this guy's work rate is just punches and bunches. He's a guy who's just very awkward. And his style is gonna be a problem for anybody at 130 pounds. This is a guy I believe, um, he makes weight easy. You know what I mean? I don't think he has a problem in making weight in any division he was in. You know what I mean? Really and truly. You know, uh, he's not the most built or ripped or in shape. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's why the man fights the way he does. You know what I'm saying? Emmanuel Navarrete, the way he fights, it's gonna be a problem for anybody. Now here we are. We trying to get a unification popping. We have Oshaki Foster, who won himself, I believe, the vacant WBC title, uh, versus Ray Vargas. Ray Vargas moved up in weight to challenge for the vacant WBC 130-pound title. And he took his first loss, you know what I mean, outside of and that was not in his regular weight class, you know what I mean. He is the WBC title holder at 126, but he went up to 130. But Oshaki Foster fought a great fight, you know what I mean? I almost had Oshaki Foster damn near whitewashing Ray Vargas. And Ray Vargas is a good fighter, but there's weight classes for a level. There's levels to this. Oshaki Foster, got a slick style. You know what I mean, is not so much of a big puncher, but he's a very good fighter, and he looked very impressive versus Ray Vargas. You know what I mean? Oshaki Foster comes up out of I believe he's from Houston or something. Yeah, I believe he's from Houston because I seen him do an interview with Captain Jack or Steven Jackson when he was talking. He was doing interviews with fighters who come from the Houston area, whether it was the Charlo brothers or, Regis Prograis. And I believe Oshaki Foster was in the mix. You know what I mean? Oshaki Foster came into that fight with 2 losses. Yeah, I mean, and I never got to see those fights. But I've seen Oshaki Foster's at least his last 3 fights, and he's a very good fighter, you know what I mean? Good, slick fighter. Yeah, I mean, 5'8.5", you know, 72-inch reach, 20 wins, 2 KOs. Sorry, 20 wins, 2 losses, 11 KOs. That'll be a good fight to be made, but I think Oshaki Foster needs to get it popping with Hector Garcia. Hector Garcia, I believe the last time we seen him in the ring was when he went up in weight as well to fight Tank Davis, you know what I'm saying? And he was doing well for himself, you know what I mean? Up until a little distraction occurred in the crowd, and there was a little delay, and when the action resumed, Tank Davis, man, he let them hands go, and he got this man Garcia up out of there in the ninth round. And to me, I don't care what nobody say. Garcia quit. He was talking about he can't see. I think, hey man, I don't care what nobody said. Them fellas quit. But that's a unification to be made right there on the PBC side. Oshaki Foster versus Hector Garcia. Yeah, I mean, the Dominican. Where should the fight happen? Oshaki's being from Houston. This guy is Dominican. Uh, I'm not sure where he's based. I don't think he's based in the United States. I don't know. Wherever it makes sense, you know. I mean, neither guys are big draws, but you know, they should have the fight in New York City or something. I mean, Hector Garcia being Dominican, there's plenty of Dominicans up there in New York City, so that might be somewhere they should consider. You know what I mean? And then we have Joe Cordina. Joe Cordina is now a two-time junior what you call it, junior lightweight champion. Yeah, I mean Joe Cordina from I believe he's from Wales, like Joe Calzaghe, right? He's not a young pup either, you know. He just came on the scene. We got to know, you know, he's only got like 16 fights, 9 KOs, you know, but he's 31 years old. You know what I'm saying? He got that split decision W, even though I didn't think it was a split decision. I don't know what kind of decision they gave him, but he won back that IBF title, an IBF title, excuse me, that he had to give up at some point in time due to injuries. You know what I mean? You check it. He had to give up that strap due to injuries, and I believe Rakimov, the guy that Cordina fought in order to get his strap back, he fought somebody to gain the vacant title. I can't remember the guy's name. He definitely wasn't American. Yeah, I mean, don't get me lying. I don't remember Slim name. Yeah, I mean, but I believe it. Rakimov. It was versus a black guy. I think it was probably. I can't remember his name, y'all. Joe Cordina, though, like I said, he got back his strap versus Rakimov in a split decision. Joe Cordina is with DAZN and Eddie Hearn's Matchroom. Yeah, I mean, so unfortunately for him, he has nobody that unify with, and neither does Navarrete on the top ranked ESPN side. Yeah, I mean, so you know, I think they should try to make a unification. Whether they got to go to purse bids. Look, cool boy Steph, a PBC fighter, took his talents over there to ESPN top rank, and also went out there to Japan. Unfortunately for him, you know, he ain't get the W. But my point is, the networks are not barriers to make unifications and big fights not happen. Now it's Cordina versus Navarrete, a big fight. Possibly in the UK it is, or maybe a homecoming fight for the man in his country for Navarrete, or maybe run it back again over there. And look, Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn's bringing his. Is it Sonny Edwards? Sonny Edwards about to be in a reunification with Bam Rodriguez. Okay, in the lower weights, I believe. What's that? 112 or 115? Uh, Sonny Edwards is coming out to Glendale, Arizona to fight in Bam Rodriguez. I'm not sure what, but I think Bam Rodriguez from Mexico, but that's going to be a pro-Mexican crowd. There's going to be pure Mexicans up in that joint. Very few Brits, if any. It's going to be a hostile environment for Sonny Edwards, you know what I mean? Sort of like, was it his brother? Was it his brother who was going over there to Mexico, man? There was a point in time Eddie Hearn was sending all kind of little dudes to be fighting these Mexicans. Um, and boy, these fellas were getting battered, you know what I mean? Little dudes. These fellas was getting beat up. Um, so, so, so with that being said, Eddie Hearn is if he's willing to send man like Sonny Edwards to to go over there and fight against the man what you call it, if you know, to go for, is it a unification, yeah, versus Bam Rodriguez at 115. If he's willing to send him over there to Glendale, Arizona for this unification versus Jesse Bam Rodriguez, uh shit, then I don't see why he can't have Joe Cordina go fight the man Navarrete over there. Or Navarrete go to England. Don't matter, you know what I mean? I'm saying, but that's a good unification right there. That's what we need in boxing. Unifications so we get steps closer to have undisputed champs. So once we have undisputed champs, these guys are now the kingpins. And people now going to be calling them out. People going to want to try to fight them if they want the straps. Yeah, I mean, oh, and hopefully Navarrete can get an opportunity to unify. I'm saying 130 is a division right now. Like I said, all these guys that I mentioned, they're relatively obscure opponents or obscure names. They're not household names like that. People might recognize Hector Garcia from the tank fight, but I think Navarrete right now is the guy who'll be pulling in more crowds. You know, that joint sold out yesterday in Arizona, Glendale, Arizona. 10,000 was in the building. Strong support in both fighters, you know what I mean? You know, so Navarrete, yeah, I believe this guy could go up as high as 147. I mean, all he got to do is just stay in shape, probably gain a little bit more muscle, turn a little bit of that flabby size into muscle, and you know what I mean, keep working on his skill set, you know. But it's going to take the right one, you know what I mean? You know, his style is very unorthodox, and it's not what you would call fundamentally sound technical boxing, right? And you know, I think you can only go so far fighting certain ways which are not conventional to the sweet science, which is boxing. You know what I mean? But give Navarrete credit. He did lead off and set off that fight versus Valdez with the jab and fighting behind the jab, keeping this guy at distance. And actually, that's what he did all night. Sure, it's they fighting. When you swim, you're going to get wet. He did get clocked with some big left hooks and right hands by the man Valdez. But for the most part, he kept him at the end of his jab. And that left uppercut from the side, from the angles, from his hips, or some Prince Nassim style, that's what severely did damage to the man Valdez' right eye. And ultimately, that's how he ended up winning this fight comfortably, you know what I mean? So I'd like to see, that was a great all Mexican showdown, you know what I mean? It reminded me of fights like, um, of course, Morales and Barrera, you know what I mean? What about the other guy? Rafael Marquez and Israel Vasquez, you know what I mean? Great rivalries, you know what I'm saying? Mexican warfare, you know? Um, what's the other guy's name? Carlos Zarate and Lupe Pintor, you know what I mean? These are guys who was fighting back when at 122 pounds or 118. You know what I mean? I think Carlos Zarate might have came up in weight, or is it Lupe Pintor, one of them. So it's been some great Mexican rivalries, you know what I mean? And Navarrete is a very exciting fighter. If anybody say them fellas doesn't entertain you, I don't know what to tell you. But he definitely is more entertaining than a lot of fighters, and I'd love to see him in these unifications. B Marsh Boxing, leave your thoughts and comments. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.